Well, hello, that's me again. Today is March 6, 2024. It is Hump Day. It's Wednesday. So my congratulations to all of you. So let's get to our goals, so to speak. Let's not procrastinate. I will start with this thing, which many people will be asking anyway. Oh, what happened? They talk about that allegedly their forces, which are drones, unmanned drones of the British manufacturing, allegedly sank the Sergei Kotov patrol ship. It is a nice, fairly new vessel. With their 130 millimeter, well, actually it's 100 millimeter gun and a couple of their close 30 millimeter, which is called Gatling guns. So, and it's been in fight with all those drones, British, operated by British, and it was fighting it for now for a couple of years, actually. So, but look what they say immediately. Why, for example, Russian Defense Ministry doesn't comment on it correctly, and why professionals do not comment on it. Simple as that. Look what they point out yesterday. The Telegram channel. We're talking about that somebody's Telegram channels say that they heard explosions, which is correct. Kotov has been involved in fighting those drones, as I already stated, practically since the inception. And that, judging by the explosions, sorry for the machine translation, in the vicinity of Feodosia, one of the targets could be a patrol boat Sergei Kotov. Well, guess what? We go further and look who conducts this basically spread of this information. It is the Telegram channel by famous shyster and jerk Rebari. His name actually is Svinchuk. He is a military translator who has no operational or tactical experience in anything. He basically just, the guy who speaks Arabic. That's about it. And he said that armed forces of Ukraine used something, but even this shyster, who actually, I don't know where FSB is looking, at this moment, but the guy was actively involved in spreading the rumors, but even he, consider this fact, even this guy who would actually soil his pants on my proposition to talk to me, online, for example, and he will never do this because he understands he will have the floor wiped with him, and he avoids all military professionals, and he doesn't have serious sources in any serious military level in Russia. Even this jerk admits that, the Crimean Peninsula and the facilities of the Black Sea Fleet are the desired target of Ukrainian formations in the context of colossal reputational losses after the failure of defense near Avdiivka, as well as the failure of the Tendrivka Spit. Such attacks will only intensify in an attempt to interrupt the negative Ukrainian informational field, the authors of the channel believe. They talk about at least 3 attacks on Kotov, and that pretty much explains to you, which is absolutely true. Surprisingly, this jerk and whoever stands behind his Telegram channel, which is fairly popular and which is, as I already stated, primarily disseminates all this, fanboys, military porn, and has no real connection, no real knowledge, no anything actually, and the only thing they pursue is, of course, to make money. It's all about monetization. Now, if anybody asks me then, what about the video of the Ukrainian, main GUR, what it is, main intelligence directorate? Well, guys, did you see the artificial intelligence girls? Or artificial intelligence, other images which are produced by whatever, anybody wants to create some kind of either fantastic landscape or some, for all kinds of different purposes. Easy. It's all easy today. You cannot really trust, especially something which emanates from Ukraine, because obviously we know that situation for them is extremely bad, and actually the geographical limits, so to speak, of Russia has been already set, and Mr. Medvedev actually have been caught. Not really caught. I mean, you already saw probably those pics and the video of him standing, against the background of the map of how Ukraine actually was. And this is where it will be. And there is another thing, and that's what many people do not understand, which is, of course, we understand that Ukraine needs to break up this, so to speak, stream of the horrendous news. For example, I learned the number from reliable sources that there are more than 25,000 POWs right now in Russia, Ukrainian armed forces. There would have been many more, but as you already know, especially Western troops such as Americans, Polish, and British guys, and all kinds of other people, even Georgian, they use them as barrier troops. They shoot in their backs if they decide to, for example, go and surrender to Russians. This is actually pretty much the level of combat preparation for the NATO armies, which is primarily shoot people who cannot shoot back or shoot them into back. So, and then of course we have this thing today, well, actually yesterday. It is the commentary by former Prime Minister of Romania, Mr. Traian Băsescu. Well, I mean, obviously what he says here about Transnistria is complete idiocy, because obviously Russia will never occupy Transnistria unless she has a direct land corridor which connects it to Transnistria. And he said, yeah, Putin occupies Transnistria in one night, but cannot hold it even for 3 days. No, if Russia will occupy Transnistria, that will automatically mean that Russia will have the possession of all the what is former Ukraine Black Sea shores. And here we have this situation which Băsescu, again, yesterday, talking to the DG24, Romanian popular media, he talks about Black Sea, no less. And of course, yeah, he obviously is not very militarily competent man if he says, when you read his views and ideas about Transnistria. But look what he states. I saw an optimist saying Russia has lost control of the Black Sea. There is one who has no idea, like those who, when I mentioned the Black Sea, laughed, said, oh, he is a commander and he also walked through the Black Sea. Russia has submarines in the Black Sea. Don't go by the force you see on the surface of the water. Nobody knows how many. Nobody knows what military capability they have. So Russia must be seen as a force dominating the Black Sea until NATO. He still dreams about it, particularly along with Turkey, Greece, Romania, Bulgaria, has enough strength in the Black Sea to dominate the shipping lines. Well, Russia dominates shipping lines because now, obviously, the Black Sea is internal sea. And it is primarily, and will be primarily, Russian and Turkish sea. Turkey has a very significant and capable navy there. And when you look at this, it's like, oh yeah, good luck. The only thing they really think about in Romania, like this Băsescu guy, is that, oh yeah, you know what, we have to mobilize our army in Romania and wait for 60 days, to hold our line until NATO mobilizes. I mean, you cannot teach really military science to these people, because as you might understand, and I am talking about this constantly, for example, when you take British military science, so to speak, these people still believe that you can prepare a competent officer in 44 weeks. So you cannot explain it to them because they don't understand what military science is, and they have zero experience with serious combined arms operations. Yet, this morning, guess what? From Crete, they fly from their air base from Crete towards Crimea. 2 Eurofighters and RC-135 Intel plane based on the Boeing 707. They do not, as you know, Britain doesn't have any more real airspace industry. They used to have those, instead of RC-135, they're pretty ugly looking Nimrods, albeit it's a good plane. So, and they fly something which is given to them essentially, or they pay money. So they flew in towards Russian, towards Crimea, and then of course Russians had to basically they took off the one of Su-37 or 30 SMs, and it flew, met them, make them turn around and go back. So the guys know only how to huff and puff and demonstrate that they mean something. They mean absolutely nothing. And that brings us towards the other thing. And when you know what, there is something definitely with British, which is some pathology. You can literally see it. For example, here is the Sir Anthony Beaver. The guy is, by the way, yeah, he's a product of Sandhurst. That means he is militarily incompetent on any serious operational or strategic level. And when you look at him and what he talks about like a week ago, about this special military operation, he parades himself a clown. He's clueless. And this is the guy, by the way, who spread and pressed on with it's called the slaughtering of the historical science, when he stated that, quoting those two psycho bitches from Germany who said that Russians raped 2.5 million women. This is your historian, a British historian. He's a sir. He is the, just high level, aristocrat, allegedly. The guy has no clue, and he, as you can see yourself from the headline, he is talking about somehow about Putin's Stalin-like blunders. I have no clue what he was talking about, because obviously he has no understanding of the modern war, which you would expect from the graduate of the Sandhurst. He has no clue about Russian history. And in fact, in Yekaterinburg in 2015, they wanted to ban his books. Of course, they didn't, but actually the guy is known in Russia as shyster and falsifier, because that's the only thing he does. But guess what? I guess his crap he produces under the title of history. He loves to write about Russia for some reason. He writes about Stalingrad and all that. So let me put it this way: it's good for British. Let them eat that, let them enjoy their status of their, Chihuahua, and they wanted it, and that's their heroes, that's their basically elites, so to speak. So, but if that is not only that, we have now this guy, and you know this guy. His name is George Friedman, and he actually the founder of this shyster info intelligence organization called Stratfor, which is pathetic, really. They don't even understand what intelligence is and how to handle it. But guess what? Just to give you one example, another brain, quote unquote, from Stratfor organization is Peter Zeihan. Neither Friedman, nor Zeihan, nor whoever works for Stratfor have any freaking clue about what they are talking about, because in case of Mr. Friedman, who states that, about two Chinas, and he talked about it 3 weeks ago, about how Putin saves face. I agree, he saves face by doing the, face palm, the same as I'm doing this. These guys are illiterate, literally. I mean, they do not know what warfare is. They do not know how operations are conducted, how they are planned, and how especially strategic level operates. None, zero. I mean, in fact, it's negative. And if you look at this guy, Mr. George Friedman, you can see yourself in his curriculum vitae. It's traditional American shyster who actually received Bachelor of Arts at the City College of New York, where he majored in political science and PhD in government in Cornell University. In other words, the guy has no systemic education in anything, but yet he plays all those games, because he rubs shoulder with all those losers, American top brass. At least he did, and he pretends that he can write or express his opinion on any matters of military, let alone strategy. He doesn't. Stratfor is a laughing stock in Russia, and yes, they produce a garbage which they sell to all kinds of the idiots from their, with MBAs who work for all kinds of corporations, and that's how they make their money. They sell literally crap. The same way as, for example, as I already told you, Mr. Rybari, or Mr. also, his real name Svinchuk, makes money. Monetizing. It is all about monetizing. Which brings us to the issue on the question which many people ask me. Oh, Andrei, you're so great, and why don't you have, like million subscribers? I will never have million subscribers, guys. And you do not understand the situation here. I am not providing fanboy stuff. I do not sell military porn. Although today I will do such a thing. But what I do and what I explain is for people who want to think and who want to learn. Learning is hard. You need to sit, you need to concentrate, you need to actually focus on what is being said, and then maybe already internally elaborate on your own time, and probably do some additional research. And that's why I will never be, popular like, this Rybari guy who sells all kinds of rumors. And I think so after the election in Russia, presidential election in Russia, well, I have some reasons to believe so. Many of those Telegram channels, so to speak, experts, none of them are expert. None of them knows what they're talking about. I know Telegram channels which are experts, and believe me, there are very few of them. And so then probably appropriate people will be dealing with them, especially in terms of the way they spread all kinds of the Ukrainian propaganda as the information. So, but that's why, for example, I will never have the million subscribers. But look at this. Since we're talking about the military porn, here is the issue of the today. We have this situation for those people who really, pardon me, intellectually or maybe physically, masturbate on drones. Drones are fine, but so are countermeasures which are emerging. And for example, Russians actually got the handle on the controlling the drone environment from against Ukraine and against whatever their drones they have. But look at this today in the very remarkable thing which happened. Tank-on-tank duel, and Russian T-72B3 blew out the Abrams tank from the first shot. And actually, it's well documented. This is not some AI garbage. It is actually actual video. And the Russian military from the first shot, from the first shot another tank, Abrams near Avdiivka. Pardon this very bad machine translation. So, and the Russian military from the first shot, they shut down another thing. Why they shut down? It's a machine translation, obviously. They blew it up, and so that was it. The first shot. Abrams, evidently, it's pretty bad there. Nobody survived there, and that tells you that when you have appropriate combined arms, and combined arms is the interaction of the all combat elements on the battlefield, which not anymore combined arms as it was perceived or conceived in after the World War I. We're talking about essentially what is today multi-domain operation. And when you have such air defense and such electronic warfare control over battlefield as Russia does, then yes, tanks have future. Not only they have future, you already saw yourself from famous Alyosha duel when it stopped 2 tanks and 6 other armored vehicles in their tracks and basically destroyed them. And today with tank-on-tank duel, and that's everything you need to know about Abrams. Obviously, all excuses from the fanboys will come and they will say that, oh, I didn't have this, depleted uranium plating or this or that. It doesn't matter. For example, just for you to understand what we're talking about, every Russian modern tank, starting from T-72B3 and T-80 and T-90s, especially T-90M and Armata, they can launch reflex ATGM through their barrel. And that means they do not really need to get into their, any kind of the artillery duel or cannon duel with any tank on the battlefield, with enemy tank on battlefield. They can reach them way beyond their range of their guns because they really use the ATGMs. So, but in this particular case, it was classic Russian tungsten, whatever their charge was there. They just destroyed the freaking Abrams. And you can see it yourself. It's just all over internet. And that tells you everything you need to know about the reputation of their, NATO, all those, British and American and French tanks. And that's a serious political issue. It's not just technological one. So, and that gets us to other thing. And the other thing, of course, is Mr. Naryshkin speaking about what is, well, basically Russia already prepares the post-special military operation procedure, so to speak. And Mr. Naryshkin, who, as you know, is a big honcho, the chief of SVR, Foreign Intelligence Service, he says that the United States are already preparing the forces of special operations for subversive work against Russia. And, well, there's a funny mistake again in machine translation when the Nord Stream blew up the Anglo-Saxons. Obviously, it was other way around, but Russia knows that British, who are Chihuahuas, they're pipsqueaks, they're actually inconsequential country, which still pretend that they're, this perfidious Albion, and they can do something about something. They can't. They're absolutely impotent political elite. Militarily, it's pathetic, it's Lilliputian, and obviously economically, it's, oh my God. So we're not going to go there. But the point is, we know that they are preparing, obviously, Mr. Naryshkin says, all those sabotage groups, which, by the way, one tried to blow up one of the bridges in Samara region 2 days ago, and they do what British really do well: kill civilians. That's the only military capability they have. Kill civilians, do the false flag, just use chemical weapons. This is terrorism. That's pretty much the extent of the military capability of NATO nowadays, and that's what they are preparing for Russia. Russians are ready. But yes, expect more, mining and, putting explosive into all kinds of the civilian infrastructure, including as was the intent in Samara, to blow up the bridge when the train with the ammiac, whatever it's called, ammonia, would be passing through, thus, just blowing it and dropping it into the river and poisoning the river. So, yeah, it's classic British thing, kill civilians, kill women, children, that's how they know how to fight. There's absolutely nothing else they can do militarily with their pathetic military. So, but Russians know that actually it's being prepared, and the same goes for Americans. Which obviously brings us to Maria Zakharova, who commented on Mrs. Kagan Nuland. And she correctly assessed her that the contribution of U.S. Deputy Secretary of State for Political Affairs Victoria Nuland to undermine relations between Moscow and Washington is colossal. Well, yeah, it is colossal because basically most political elites today in the United States, not speaking about Britain, for example, Europe, they are psychopaths. We know Victoria Nuland is a genocidal maniac who, first, we understand that the time, so to speak, has come to pay the bills, and she runs like a rat from the Titanic, which is, of course, American foreign policy and American status of the great power in the world. She is the one who participated actively of destroying any kind of relations between Washington and Moscow, which only matter, and because obviously we're talking about two nuclear superpowers, and because of her husband and the whole neocon cabal, including the American military, which sold their soul for the money and the idiotic, genocidal, totalitarian ideas of global domination to neocons. They never expected what has come. And what has come is destruction of the status of the United States as the global hegemon. It's over for the United States. The political and economic consequences of this are colossal. And as such, obviously, we know that Victoria Nuland presided over what is unfolding right now, a genocide of Palestinians in Israel. So the lady and those people who supported her and on behalf of who she was conducting her evil activity, they screwed people. They really are screwed big time. And as a result, she wants to dissociate herself for now, which is too late, from this sinking ship of American statehood. And what can I say? There's nothing she can do about it anymore. She is forever associated together with her hubby, Robert Kagan, together with all those clowns from Institute of the Study of War, to all these neocons from media, including media, which are primarily neocon and genocidal, be that New York Times, be that Washington Post, or be that whatever Newsweek. Those people are responsible to what have happened, and they are responsible to what we know now is the colossal number of the death of the Ukrainian soldiers, and colossal damage to the country of Ukraine, which will cease to exist as we know it. Well, pretty soon. It's already actually ceased to exist as we know it. But it's all about now the formalization of the outcome. And just to give you some insight into this, obviously, for those people say, oh, what's Russia gonna do about it? Well, believe me, Russia is doing something about it. And for example, today, American edition of Washington Examiner, Tom Rogan, has been put on the wanted list in Russia in the database of their investigative committee, and he called on May 2018 to actually, blow up the which is civilian targets, actually, the Crimean Bridge. They are obsessed there. So, and believe me, those people, there are some American generals which are on the wanted list right now. And the more things continue, the weaker United States becomes. Europe is completely deindustrialized, and it's already brought on the altar, and it's over for Europe. It will never live as well as it lived just relatively recently. And it's over in terms of the actual economic development. But America remains, for now at least, so Russia will be dealing with the Americans. But Europeans, being a freeloaders, which they are, and don't give me this crap anymore, that, oh yeah, but our governments do not represent us. No, they do represent you. You voted for them. Maybe not particular people who come and listen to me, but majority of Europeans voted for that. And as a result, now this, chihuahuas, all those, Scholz and, Macrons and all the people surrounding them who pretend that they have any kind of the valuable skills which they don't, they suddenly, you see, USA Today reports that, oh, this man disbelieve what US allies are saying about the chance of another Trump presidency. Here, of course, they basically list all those horrible things, horrible, quote unquote, about Mr. Trump, like siding with Vladimir Putin. He never did. Trump is a hot air balloon with a lot of neocon tendencies, but at least he understands what is going on with the country here in the United States. He's not going to fix it, but at least he speaks about it, which is already some kind of the, progress. But look at this. Now, with Trump pulling slightly ahead of President Joe Biden in some national polls, U.S. allies are steeling themselves for a possible MAGA restoration with equal measures of dread and pragmatism. So, well, yeah, because basically all European elites are completely corrupt. They are completely useless, and they're completely bought up by the United States. And then suddenly Mr. Trump, who actually knows only how to do business, I'm not sure he learned much from his tenure as the president, but you know what? But in private, some allies say they are preparing for a revenge presidency that might actually work against European interests, a dictator-loving administration that could turn it back on NATO while descending into chaos and political theater. I have news for Europeans, for those morons from Elysee Palace, for the cretins in Berlin, so for all this, so to speak, fungus which thinks that they are political elites. Europe is the enemy of the United States. United States is the enemy of the Europe, and Europeans gonna eat it no matter what administration. And the fact that those idiots still believe that United States can defend them from allegedly Russian attacks and invasion, they're a bunch of morons and brainwashed. And the point is, United States cannot defend if Russia really decides, which I don't think so. Russia have any, well, they have contingency planning on that. Otherwise, you would have to, basically fire all kinds of people from general staff. That's what military do. They create contingency planning. But the point is, these idiots still do not understand they are being eaten by America. And these cretins will continue to think that America there is to defend them. First, the United States is militarily impotent. It doesn't have technology. It doesn't have actually resources to do so. And it's not going to have it. Even if we talk about the situation with the whole development, so to speak, vector of development of the United States, let me put it this way. People from Russian general staff who publish in the, for example, military thought, военная мысль, they write openly about, and they are really damn good at forecasting, believe me. And I want to show you why it is all over. It's over for Europe, it's over for the United States, but United States, unlike Europe, has some resources. It still has some fight left in the American people who do not want to lose their actually identity as people, as nation, unlike it is the case with primarily in Europe, where they are already completely emasculated. And yeah, I applaud farmers. That is primarily economic reason for their situation there with their, how to say it, writing, if you wish. In the United States, there's still a lot of actually, how to put it politely, national spirit in, the desire to preserve some kind of the fundamental ideas of the nation. That's what, separates Americans, many Americans I know, from Europeans. And just to demonstrate to you why it is so bad, here is the quote from Mr. Brzezinski from 1997, his, famous The Grand Chessboard, American Primacy and its Geostrategic Imperatives. And that tells you why American elites are also imbeciles. They are illiterate, they have no clue what they're writing about. And yeah, this is the result of the so-called political science. Mr. Brzezinski, being National Security Advisor in Carter administration, have a degree in political science. Look what he wrote. America's economic dynamism provides the necessary precondition for the exercise of global primacy. America's share of global GNP, and more specifically its share of the world's manufacturing output, had stabilized at about 30%, a level that had been the norm for most of the century, apart from these exceptional years immediately after World War II. More important, and here is the amateur writing it, late one, but still, America has maintained and has even widened its lead in exploiting the latest scientific breakthroughs for military purposes, thereby creating a technologically peerless military establishment, the only one with effective global reach. This is Mr. Brzezinski. He wrote this in 1997. Today, United States canceled yet another program on the hypersonic weapons. Russian tanks actually blow up their, the Abrams tanks. You can take a look at the Russians blowing up now with the deep tactical penetration up to 30-40 kilometers in depth. All those HIMARS and intercepting all kinds of JDAMs and, equivalents of range bombs like that. Guys, it's over.